Hello, my few dozen and deeply appreciated subscribers, and anybody else who might be listening in. We've got an interesting one to talk about today. It's going to be the American labor shortage and why that might be happening. So, first off, the first thing I'm going to say is that it is not at all anything to do with the lack of jobs, because there are jobs everywhere. Now, I drive around in an area that's considered economically well off, and the fact of the matter is that I see for hire signs absolutely everywhere. So it's not the lack of jobs. Okay, so if there's jobs available, then why aren't people working? Now, instead of asking why people aren't working, let's go ahead and ask the question as to why people would work. First off, why would you work? Well, to eat. Simply put, you don't work, you don't eat. I think that's a pretty basic tenet of reality there. You need to produce things in order to actually use resources and get them. Despite the fact that what certain people might think. Looking at you, socialists, looking at you. Well, there's government assistance for that. And that's paid for by the worker. So why would you volunteer to become a worker when you can just get the food for free? Well, there's that. Then, of course, there's, you might work to not get thrown out. But for a while, we had the eviction moratorium. And I'm sure there's other political factions that are trying to stop people from getting thrown out anyways. There's squatters' rights, there's all sorts of things that are barriers to that particular bit of motivation. All right. Well, now here's the next bit, which I personally think is actually the true heart of the matter. You would work because on some intrinsic level, people see themselves, even the most individualistic person sees themselves as a part of the whole. So when you are working, you're contributing. And when you are contributing, obviously, a little bit of that is taken out and distributed to those who need it. Okay? But in a sense, you are basically being rewarded for working. The resources that you garner are effectively the reward. Well, where are the resources going in aggregate? Because just looking around, I've been seeing some rather interesting things. There are people online that make millions of dollars playing video games and acting like just mentally damaged children, despite the fact that they're in their 30s. There are people, on a more modest scale, making $20,000 a month simply by eating fast food in front of a camera. We have politicians that ostensibly do absolutely nothing, and they get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, not just in their paycheck, but also in benefits, that are apparently allowed to do things that to other people would be flat out illegal. So why would you want to become a worker in this climate? Why would you ever want to be one of the contributors? Why would you ever want to have a job that actually produces something and doesn't pay you that much when other people are getting rewarded so much more for so much less? And there, I think, is the problem. The problem is that the people that are necessary for the functioning of a society are not being rewarded. And all of the people that are more or less just excess are getting most of the goods. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who does some sort of entertainment job is currently raking in all of the cash. That would be foolish to say. But there's enough of them, and they are visible enough to the point where it seems like a disproportionate impact. So what's going on is that people are looking out saying, why would I get a job that actually requires labor and effort when I could simply goof off all day and get paid far more? Maybe. There's that small chance that you could make it big. And in the meantime, you can just soak up government benefits to keep yourself moving. Now, I'm not vilifying these people. That's something I want to make very clear. I am not criticizing these people because they might have circumstances I'm unaware of that mean this is the only thing that they can really do. What I'm saying is that the people that are necessary for such an excessive system to exist are being disincentivized from existing. The foundation of the civilization is rotting due to neglect. And that's personally why I think that we actually have a labor shortage. And importing people from other countries isn't going to help. The first generation, typically speaking, needs a little bit of time to find their footing, as is just understandable. And we can't keep this up forever. The government's been borrowing and printing money like nothing else, and we're heading for a fall. I certainly hope everybody's stocked up on, well, let's go ahead and say immediately usable supplies. I really hope everything pulls through. I want to be an optimist, but at the same time, I have to prepare for the worst. Y'all have a very nice day. Signing off.